Well, let's get this thing going. Good morning, thanks for coming out and spend some time with us. My name is Selby. I'm the propagation supervisor here at Plant Delights and Juniper Level Botanic Garden. And today we're going to be sharing some of my best for fall plants. A lot of these are new introductions. Some of these are some of our good old staples that are just tried and true, that are really starting to shine as the garden's kind of getting tired. These are kind of the last little bits of plants here in Zone 7B Raleigh that I find are amazing this time of year. So some of the first ones we got, new plants. This is a great new offering. This is Cuphea glauca. We've talked about this in the past. We did a little video on it maybe a year or so ago. This one's really warmed up to me a lot. This thing gets abused. It's in one of the grossest sections of the garden. It's right at the base of a huge bambusa, never gets any irrigation, sharp drainage. This is a native of southern Mexico into Guatemala. It's usually found in like dry, slopey forests of high mountains. That's probably why it does so great over there. But this thing has been blooming for probably about 3 weeks in the garden, and it's just absolutely smothered in yellow flowers. Doesn't seem to seed around or run around. It seems to be fairly well clumped. You could expect like a shrub about 3.5 to 4 feet tall by about 6 feet wide, probably in about 4 years or so. It dives to the ground here in wintertime and then reemerges usually around May. We'll start seeing that. So this is Cuphea glauca, good plant. If you have a spot that you need to neglect and get a lot of bang for your buck, this is a great plant. This is a new one we got going out. All right. Gonna get back to one of ours that I absolutely love this time of year. This is our firecracker vine. Phenomenal pollinator. Give this thing some space. It can take anything from sun to shade. It's a vine. It really wants to climb on everything. We were just commenting. It was actually climbing up one of our cycads earlier, and this is what it would kind of represent in the garden. A nice mass. It just kind of trails up. Hummingbirds absolutely love it. You get a lot of great color. It's a good rambler. This is one we've had in the garden for years. It's tried and true here. Can't say enough about Manettia cordifolia. Stays pretty much a nice crown and then just goes wild from there. So really like that plant a lot. Here, and you guys can kind of pass these around if you want to look at the flowers, see what they look like.
How will we do on a trellis?
It does great. There's actually one, I believe there's a little makeshift trellis right over here we'll go look at after the video and see if it's still up on that. It kind of stays natural. And here's the little Cuphea if you guys want to pass that around. So, all right, one of my next favorite plants I absolutely love. That's a brand new plant. This is begonia. This is Sterling Moon. This is an Ozzie Johnson offering. It's got this enormous flower, enormous beautiful leaf. The backside is very burgundy, very nice, well lit when it's backlit. This thing is a beast in the garden. It stands at about close to 2.5, 3 feet tall by about 3 feet wide off of one crown. This is a new introduction we have and phenomenal. The flowers are just, for the size of the plant, really nice. So
what's called again, sorry?
This is begonia Sterling Moon, and this could be a good house plant. I would probably here in Raleigh not plant it this deep into the year. I would probably plant it maybe come springtime. Same with maybe the Cuphea as well, or not the Cuphea, but the Manettia. Kind of want to get those plants established a little bit earlier in the season, but however, they do a great job for growing here. One of my other favorite plants that we do this time of year, you cannot beat the pink banana. Musa velutina. Absolutely beautiful. The clump out in the garden probably has upwards of about 50 to 60 clusters like this right now. So you have these beautiful hot pink bursts with a green backdrop. Pretty easy. Like all bananas, they kind of spread. You can keep them in check by digging them up and keeping them to a size that you want, or just let them go crazy like we do. This plant is not edible. It's loaded with these horrific seeds. You probably, well, everything's edible. But you can see they're just loaded with seeds. This is how we actually grow this. It doesn't seem to pop up a lot of seedlings in the garden, which is kind of nice. At least here it doesn't. But this is Musa volutina. Love that plant. That thing gets, I would say it dies to the ground and will get upwards of about 15 feet tall here. So pretty good sized plant.
Then when we're walking around and actually seeing these things.
Yeah. I can't say the best of fall without saying anything about Cyclamen heterofolium. I can't plug these plants enough. They're blooming all over the garden. They just started. Super easy, dry shade plant. These are corms. You can plant these pretty much at any time. Super duper great plant for a woodland garden. They just absolutely, thank you. Appreciate it, thank you. I have this plant everywhere in my yard. This time of year, we were just walking around, there's just flowers bursting pretty much everywhere. What's really cool is the ants a lot of times will take the seed pods and spread them throughout the garden. So you can amass a nice little cluster in about 4 or 5 years. So really cool plant.
Do they stay tiny-ish?
Yeah, so your flowers you're going to expect maybe out of the ground. You'll see them, they're only going to be about this tall. Plant-wise, you're going to start seeing them emerge foliage in probably another 6 weeks or so. And usually they come in all sorts of patterned colors, clouded colors, solid greens. The cool thing about the seeds is you really see a huge spread of phenotypical expression. So pretty cool there.
They have to be in the shade.
Well, what's funny is they will take full sun in the winter. Typically they're under like deciduous canopies right now. So right now we have full shade on them, but they're just coming up. So what happens is as the leaves fall, the temperatures drop, the foliage emerges, and then they're in full sun. So it's just through the cool months. Then usually by about May or June, they're dormant and you don't see them again. So it's a really nice wintertime plant and they start showing off in fall. So one of my best plants I have for
Cyclamen?
Cyclamen, yeah, that's Cyclamen heterofolium. Yeah, here, did you guys? We do. We sell lots of different varieties of cyclamen. We have a number of species we're offering, but here you go. You didn't get to see that, so there you go. You can pass it back and check it out.
Another garden that had these popping.
Yeah, they're popping up everywhere. Cool. One of my favorite plants for fall is a Eryngium that we can actually grow. That is blue. A lot of our Eryngiums that we grow here, like Yuccafolium, Gavifolium, that sort of stuff, they do not have the showy blue flower or as blue. This is Eryngium that is native to South Carolina. This is one we call Charleston Blues. The species is Ravenellii. It's pretty well behaved. It's a riparian plant. You'll see through kind of semi-moist areas, it'll tolerate a whole range of pH, slightly acidic to very slightly alkaline. But this is a really, really beautiful flower. You'll see these out in our boggy areas of the full sun garden. I plant this as in my ditch out in the front of my house to just kind of naturalize and hunker down. But it looks absolutely beautiful right now this time of year. All right, so we're gonna move into some like honorable mention plants. The first one that I love that we do, watch it as you pass this around, this has thorns. This is a hybrid, a naturally occurring hybrid called Erythrina expedwillii. This is a coral bean. The hummingbirds absolutely love this right now. This is a really beautiful little native. It can get some pretty good size. Some of these will mature into huge trees, some of the species like Christogalli, but the natives are typically Herbaceae and this hybrid expedwillii. Herbaceae is probably the most well-behaved out of them. It will form a nice shrub about waist high by about 3 feet tall, and it's covered in typically really hot pink covered lipstick-like flowers. It's a very easy plant to grow. Give it some space. It kind of is like a shrubby vine hybrid. It's got lots of thorns. It just kind of hangs on to everything, but a really, really great plant. Hummingbirds absolutely love it.
Does it clump or does it spread by seed?
It doesn't spread by seed. It'll clump, but as you walk around out in the sun gardens, you'll see them in flower right now, and they really do take up some solid real estate. Like this plant that I cut this off of is probably a good 10 feet wide by about 6 to 8 feet tall. Yeah, it's something. Yeah, the species Herbaceae that we do, like I said, it's much more manageable. It stays usually about 2.5, 3 feet by 2.5, 3 feet, and it'd be in flower about spikes about this tall. So pretty cool plant. Love that. And the next plant that we're going to talk about is Bouvardia. Bouvardia ternifolia. This is a plant that we've been offering for years. It's a very difficult plant to propagate. Unfortunately, it's very slow, but it's an absolute beauty. It'll take sun to shade, does better in full sun. We were just stocking plants the other day, and we had like 3 or 4 hummingbirds just in this one little cluster of stock plants. Very easy to grow.
It's stunning. Really.
It's a great thing. Here's another flower if you guys want. Let's see. The other plant we're going to talk about, you notice there's a lot of red this time of year, lots of hot colors. This is Anisacanthus wrightii. This is another plant that the hummingbirds absolutely adore. It can take absolutely hot, gross conditions. There's a huge plant that's been here for years right up against the west side of our garage. Takes absolutely intense heat. Very easy to grow, likes a little bit dry, but will tolerate good, well-draining moisture. It'll get big, but very, very cool plant. That's Anisacanthus wrightii. All right, let's see what else I have in here. The next thing we're going to talk about are some of our Lespedezas. They're just now, let's see, they're just now starting to come in the flower. This is a massive plant. Lespedeza, this one doesn't seed around, which is nice. I have clumps of this in my garden that are now probably 6 to 8 feet wide at the base. This is one you want to give space. It will get upwards of about, I would say, to be safe, 10 by 10 is a fair assessment, and it is just absolutely smothered in these beautiful pinkish Fabacean looking flowers. You'll see these starting to go off. A lot of our other cultivars like Gibraltar and White Fountain, they are more of a late summer bloomer. This one is just now coming in. It complements well with like a lot of the goldenrods, the solidagos and stuff like that. It'll take full sun. I like to keep a few of mine in check. It takes regular shearing very well, so you can kind of keep them in check. But the crown stays pretty hefty. But I love Lespedeza. They can be kind of a seedy plant in some places. There are species that are definitely going to seed around. These, however, do not. So I have never seen any of these spread. All right, honorable mention. We're going to talk about all the different Gesneriads. These are all African violet relatives. One of my favorites this time of year are the varieties of Hemiboa. Hemiboa has this big trumpet-like flower. Some of them are clumping, some of them run. The running forms like subcapitata here has this beautiful shiny glossy looking foliage. It spreads via stolons right across the top of the soil. It's very easy to kind of keep in check. Absolutely beautiful this time of year. And then you can also see some of the others like that cespitosa, and you can see the difference in the foliage. Some of them have like a really nice heavy pubescence, nice coloring to the leaf. Some of them are just very, very shiny. They're all super easy to grow. They just kind of run on dry, shady soil. You don't have to do anything with them. Another plant that's just now starting to come in the flower are the Titanotrichum oldhamii. This is another of our African violet relatives. This is a great plant. Another big tubular flower. That's the thing about all these flowers, is they have sort of these tubular-like flowers. But Titanotrichum oldhamii, very easy to grow. This will also produce plantlets that will come off of the flower spikes that kind of look like these little tassels, and you can take those tassels and just sprinkle them across the soil and they will start to grow. I've never seen this spread in my garden that way, but that's how I do produce it. One of my favorite Gesneriads are the Gloxinias. This is one called Little Red. Little Red, I can't say enough about. Dry shade. It pops up a little bit later in the year, usually around like May, June, and just goes and goes and goes. Starts flowering probably about 6 weeks ago and just keeps flowering right into fall. It's loaded with these bright red hot flowers with deep yellow throats. This particular plant holds up a little bit better to sun. I'm really surprised. If you go out to the front garden, it's planted under some really heavy tree canopy, but late in the afternoon it just takes the brunt of like full baking hot sun right out on the road. No burning, no spotting, no nothing. Very easy to grow. Great, great plant. That's Gloxinia Little Red. We also do Gloxinia avida. It spreads a little bit more, and it also hugs the ground a little bit more. Same color flower, bright, shiny green foliage on that one. All right, let's see what else we've got on here. I think a couple more honorable mentions that are just coming into flower that I do not have. Cuphea micropetala is this really beautiful flower. They're just now starting to bloom in the garden. They look like a candy corn stacked flower. Imagine a couple hundred candy corns on a flower spike about this tall. And it's really loaded with all sorts of goodness. Hummingbirds like it in late fall as they're about to hit off. Another Cuphea that's been a really good plant for us so far is, well, there's actually a couple different ones, but Cuphea cyanea ashavilla is one we do. It's another heavy blooming plant. It starts a little bit earlier in the year than micropetala. It's been blooming for probably a good 6 to 8 weeks. So it really starts in summer, but it really carries all the way up to fall. Here, I'll take that off. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And then we also have a couple new plants that we're starting to offer that I really, really like. Some of the Liatris are all in bloom. I couldn't cut them, but we'll get them out. You'll see them in the garden here. Liatris bastrop is a plant right now that is absolutely phenomenal. If you like big blue Marge Simpson looking hair spikes, these Liatris get somewhere around this tall and flower spikes about this round. You can kind of see one right around the corner out here in the garden. They're absolutely phenomenal, and they'll look good for another few weeks here. So good plant that I see. So that was one heck of a whirlwind. Those are the best of fall for me. These are tried and true and stuff I've seen over and over. I appreciate you spending some time with me, and any of you guys have any questions or comments?
Are these all pretty deer resistant?
We'll get a list of some deer-resistant plants for you. Some of them definitely are, some of them definitely are not. So yeah, and I like to say with deer resistancy, it's stuff that's usually avoided by deer. I've heard of just about everything being eaten at this time. So yeah. But yeah, good question. Thanks again.
Is there a list? Will there be a list of all, or do we just need to watch the video?
This here?
Yeah. Well, I see your
Yeah,
video.
yeah. I could certainly put together a list for you. Yeah. But typically it will be the video. But yeah, and some of this stuff we'll be offering this year, and some of it's for next year as well. So yeah, kind of setting some stuff up. So, and some of the stuff we already offer for a year. So yeah, great. Yep, I can get you a nice list of stuff though. Yeah. Great questions. Yeah. But yeah, thank you very much for coming out. I love it. Yeah, I love talking plants with all you guys. So anytime I get the opportunity, let's do it. Yeah.